right. And I think we are live.
The button has been officially pressed.
Button has been pressed. Hello, good morning, Guy.
Good morning. So, tell me all about it.
Turns out it's a risky business to start at 5 in the morning. if you don't hear the alarm clock, there are people waiting, and it's like, oh fuck.
Yeah, totally.
Luckily, everything worked. Everything, like the technology is ready to get it all started. So I want to apologize for the delay.
No sweat.
So last week you left me with a task, right?
Yep.
Which was to gather all the things, and it has been on my mind all week, and I have been trying, but I think I failed. I think it's going to take a little longer. It's not easy. The whole topic. Maybe I should give a moment of context, maybe for new viewers. So I'm doing a coaching series with Guy Sengstock here. This is the second session, and the topic is, what should I do? What should I focus on when it comes to my participation to the public sphere? Let's call it Game B, or what should I do for the commons, and what is the best way? And we talked a bit last time about how high openness, low conscientiousness are an aspect to take into account. Something that we haven't talked much about is a bit of a conflict that I find myself in when it comes to money. Right now I have my couple of hours in the morning that I can dedicate to this, and I am a bit split whether to try to just do those couple of hours as well as possible, without expecting anything in return, any money. But that I keep thinking, if there was a way to also, get some return, then I would be able to invest way more, unlock way more time, right?
Yeah.
So that's a bit of a double bind, because in a sense, it's not about the money for me, but I know that money can unlock things. So there's something there.
Yep.
But to a degree, I also think if I manage to invest the partial time very well, then that's probably the best precondition to also earn money from it. I don't know. But yeah, and probably that too is a secondary question. The question really is the question of focus, of what should be the frame again, of what should I do.
Right. Well, if we say that there's if we imagine that right now, let's just say that where you are right now is a result of a frame, right? Let's just say, like, for example, we're like looking at, like, okay, so how should we look at this? Like, such that through looking at it, we'd find ourselves, and if it worked, right, we find ourselves your relationship with the public sphere and game B, right? You'd probably be like making your money doing it. Um, all the things that are all the potential possible things that you want, right? And let's just say like at this point right now, looking back, you've made it. Your life is exactly the way that you've wanted it,
Mm.
right? What would you say? What would you say the frame is?
Mm. All right. Okay. Okay. That's a good one. I think
We're like interviewing you right now. You're like, oh my god, you made it.
I made it.
How do I see things such that?
Yes. um. All right. Well, if it's a good question because I can kind of free myself from part of the constraints. So, for sure, I wouldn't be doing like kind of split. I have my day job and then I'm pursuing my hobbies part time for free. I think I would be that would be the thing. The thing would be the thing that gives me the income. So that's and if I can pick and choose, right, then it would be the free donation of people that see that what I do is meaningful. So, and it would be kind of a patronage in the sense that it really is like you would patronage an artist or like a life artist, let's call it like which is again like unconstrained. Like we trust what you have done until now. We don't know what you
Mm-hmm.
will do in the future, but we kind of trust that you are on the path and give you that
Yeah.
freedom. So that would be like, I guess, the
Right.
maximum privilege, right?
Yeah.
um I think another aspect would be that i would be I would be living on some piece of land and regenerating that,
Mm-hmm.
and I would be or try to foster a movement, a landslide movement towards towards more and more people being able to live like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would not just be doing that on my own and that's it. I would try to do that in a, again, like public transparent way, documenting the whole process, um, having it like be a place that people can visit and learn and like again like in this kind of like participatory way at all levels. um,
Yeah.
and I think this fractality of being active at all levels, that's important to me, like at the level of my family, but maybe a community, a number of people, a little tribe,
Right.
um, and creating self-sustainability as much as possible, and then trying to kind of foster like a nested, uh, multi-layered kind of autonomy at the level of
Right.
physical things, let's say. And at the
Right.
same time, yeah, I mean, it's really in the background is this civium idea, right? Of
Mm-hmm.
so the bodies should be living in what is good for the bodies. So
Mm-hmm.
again, like out in nature, in a small community, and then
Mm-hmm.
the mind can kind of collaborate at global scale in a sense, like just
Right.
uh, yeah, something like that. And it really would be, I think this is the first thing that came to mind when you asked the question, right? I would be living somewhere in nature where I can
Yeah.
transform that place and make it
Yeah.
a little paradise. But again, like then the important thing is it would not be an isolated experiment. It would be like it would permeate, like there would
Mm-hmm.
be others doing the same
Right.
nearby and more and more,
Yeah.
like with a, yeah, we would help each other with information and all of that. So
Right. So far, I just want to make sure I'm getting it. So far, is like when you'd be making your money essentially as an artisan, right? So people, you'd be people would be giving you money, or you would be making money in some way based on like the potential, right? Which what I heard in that was like presupposed that like you're basically you're being paid for your creativity and your
mm,
generativity. Mm-hmm.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
and and that you'd be regenerating land, and you'd be doing that with other people. Mm-hmm. And that would be spreading, and there'd be a collaboration in the Sibian. Is that how you call it, Sibian?
civium. I think it's kind of
Civium.
like mycelium, like but civium.
Oh, okay. Yeah, totally. Right. So that's what you want.
Yeah. I think now that we're talking,
Mm-hmm.
actually at the end of that kind of came the wait. I also would like to be active as a developer somehow. Like I would like to have that fit in there,
Yeah.
um, and I think
Computer
yeah,
developer, right?
yeah, sorry, yes.
Yep.
And I think all three actually. Maybe we could add the community spirituality aspect to it, the Reiki kind of dialogo stuff. I mean, that's related
Yeah.
to the collaboration, right?
Yep. Yep.
Um, Even though it's maybe not goal oriented, but it's like building the basis for a deeper trust and collaboration and problem
Yep.
solving capacity, the collective intelligence thing. But I think
Mm-hmm.
that now if I look at it, I see a common pattern with all four. So the kind of spirituality community, then the collaborative networked aspect, the
Mm-hmm.
regenerating land, and development of
Mm-hmm.
open source code.
Mm-hmm.
All of them, what I see is they are processes that have like that kind of, how do you state that leverage comes to mind. So it's like you put in linear effort, but they create like these compounding results, right? This
Yep.
exponential,
Yeah.
because like with land, like the more you create this permaculture kind of, you create the water system so that the water stays more and life begets life, right? This is an idea.
Right.
And with coding is the same, right? Like you never repeat yourself as a developer, because you solve a problem and then that problem is solved for you again and again. um, so there is this aspect of doing a thing that then makes the doing of new things easier.
Yeah. Right.
And
Right.
I feel like, yeah, that's the commonality behind
Mm-hmm.
all those things.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know? I like that story. Do you know Age of Empires? It's a video game.
Age of Empires. No.
No, all right. Like it's like
Is it a movie? What is it?
it's a video game from the end of the 90s. I think 99 came out.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
it's a strategy game. These games seen from above, where you like move the villagers around and gather
Mm-hmm.
food, and then you attack the enemy and that kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah.
So this is a classic, right? It's the video game I've played most in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And my strategy was always like different from what others would do. Like some people, build their little village and then build an army and then they go and attack. And I
Mm-hmm.
would I would always reinvest all the economy into more economy. So I would produce more villagers, to then produce more villagers, and then I would like rapidly, like very quickly have like the population limit, all villagers all running around gathering more resources. Actually that's the game A thing, if you will.
Right. Right.
But and then at a certain point, when an enemy would attack me, I would basically like kill all the villagers and produce army, but I would then win because I had like so many resources gathered in a relatively quick time. And
Yeah.
I think there is a kind of fever of the exponential return. Um, that's kind
Uh-huh.
of like, whoa,
Yeah.
uh, or I don't know. It's like that game gave me the intuition that there are things that work like that. That,
Yeah.
whoa, like you can, if you time your things well, things can like explode.
Right. Right.
It's interesting as I talk. I'm feeling that's actually the negative
Mhm.
side of our current system.
Mhm. Mhm.
Now I'm wondering, to what degree uh, this intuition is actually, like how um, Jordan Hall would call it malware, like
Yeah.
actually the wrong
Right.
approach.
Right. Right. So there's like, so basically you want to like, you want your attention. There's a way, there's a commonality through all of it, right? It's all of it has to do with like locally for yourself and what you do and the way that you relate to others, to the way that you relate to the land, to your coding, to the spirituality, to all the conversations and relationships that make that up. Is that there's some way in which the, the act of the act of bringing your attention on it, um, not only does cool shit, but it feeds back your ability to do even more cool shit in the
Yeah.
act of doing the cool shit, right?
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And like, and that you want to set up your relationships like that. You want to set up where you live like that, how you spend your time like that, right?
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
What's it like just talking about it as it's unfolding? Like, it's like what's the experience like? Is it
It's interesting. I mean, right now, this I'm sensing a bit of a tension. Um,
mm-hmm.
it feels like, okay, there is a right way and the wrong way to do it, kind of thing. But
Mm-hmm.
then again, like I'm reminded of what's I don't know if you have heard people talking about this sense talk by Tyson Yonkaporta. It's kind of like uh, Jordan Hall, Vervaeke. I mean, Vervaeke didn't read the book, but um, uh, Jim Rutt as well. So
Mm-hmm.
Tyson Yonkaporta talks about the difference between growth and increase, and so like how
Yeah.
game A is kind of, it's all about growth, and
Right.
what they do in kind of Aboriginal, that they have these increase parties, which are more
Mm-hmm.
about increasing the relationships between the people, like, so there is not growth in that sense, but there is a growth of the network of the um,
Yeah.
I actually, a couple of years ago, I used to think of it in terms of there is scaling and there is deepening,
Yeah.
and so scaling can be exponential, and deepening is actually kind of like the opposite. It's logarithmic. The deeper you want to go, the slower it gets. But then in
Mm-hmm.
the end, the deeper thing is the thing that uh, wins out in the end somehow. I don't know. It's a feeling.
Right. Right.
Um. So yeah, but still, I mean, no matter. There is this intuition, this that if you're a visual person, like it has a bit of a mandala shape, like the thing compounding in itself and beautifying, and um
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and being a participant in that.
Yeah. Right. Right. And so it sounds like you in participating yourself and your family in such a way that you're optimizing, it's optimal, and you're participating, right? Everything that you do and be is participating in this deeper self, autopoetic,
Mm.
the right thing, the right thing feeding back to the right thing, growing the quality of the network, not just the quantity, right? In a way that gathers other people to do the same, and you're using your own innovativeness and your creativity.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And there's some tension. There was some tension, right? On like, well, I want to make sure I'm growing the right thing. And then you just took a deep breath.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What's happening now?
Um, I think reality kind of
No,
is
not
there,
that.
you know.
I take back the question.
No. uh, yeah, it's kind of like, like there is if you are inside of a virtuous cycle,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, then you kind of go along, and it works in a way, like,
Right,
um but if you're kind of like, if society is falling apart around you, then it's kind of hard to feel that,
right,
right?
right. Oh, that reality.
That reality.
Yeah, yeah. That was the deep breath.
I don't know, it was more like, the deep breath was like a maybe the end of the, like, yes, this would be the thing, right? And then
Right,
kind of
right,
the counterpart came in, of like, okay, how the fuck do we
right,
go from here to there,
right, right.
And also maybe there is an aspect of, I feel how I'm staying at a relatively abstract level, like
Mm-hmm.
how all of this is still very, dreamy,
Right.
intuitive, and
Mm-hmm.
how, if I want to, yeah, if I want to use my time effectively, I'm going to have to
Yeah,
narrow down
totally.
a lot my
Yeah.
scope, my like my uh what's my role within all of this. um
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
I
Well,
think it
now
was a couple of days, sorry.
that's what's possible. That's your current articulation of where you want to be heading,
Mm.
right? Now let's talk about where you are right now. So what's current reality? Like what are you getting paid for? What's like where are you living? Like
Yeah.
what's the current reality? That's desired reality. What's current?
Yeah. All right, right now I'm living, uh let's say, in, we can call it suburbia, um
Mm-hmm.
at the edge, of Zurich.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm working part-time as a web engineer, um and I have family, a son, and I use the rest of my time, I have my couple of hours in the morning
Mm-hmm.
to do things for myself, and Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and during the day is to be with the family. Um, and if I think about where I live, there are many things that are right about it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's like it is a small, one could call it. I don't know how it's a cooperative, right? Like there are maybe 300 people living around, so 300 families more like that.
Mm-hmm.
And there are playgrounds there. There is a community garden which is nice, that I
Mm-hmm.
joined. And so there is a bit, again, a playground for me, like to learn a bit of the,
Yeah.
um, where I go like half an hour a day more or less.
Yeah.
um, uh, and like daycare is just downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
In principle, kindergarten would be in the next building, and
Mm-hmm.
in front of us there is an elderly home for the elderly. So one could live their whole life here in principle.
Oh, got
um
you. Got you. Yeah.
what I feel like I am missing here mainly
Mm-hmm.
is that kind of maybe the deeper connection to the land,
Mm-hmm. Right.
right? Like there is this garden, but it's a garden. It's not it's not
Yeah.
agriculture in that sense. um
Right.
and it's just this flat patch, where
Mm-hmm.
that is, maybe I shouldn't, I don't know, it's good, and it's a community thing which is good. But I feel like all of this is
Yeah.
fragile in a way, like it's something that could be lost at any
Yeah.
time, right? I'm just paying rent, and the day I leave, all that effort is, I guess it belongs to the community, but it's not even, it actually belongs to the city, the that patch of land, right? If the city
Mm-hmm.
decides, okay, we are going to restructure, reorganize, then that effort is gone too. I don't know. I guess there is desire to, hmm, I don't know if owning is the right approach to
Mm-hmm.
own a piece of land, but
Right.
I mean, there comes. I mean, Switzerland is just
Mm-hmm.
very difficult, at the level of laws and all of that, because
Right.
it's a small country, and it's very highly. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
don't know how you. It's not like in, I don't know, Canada, where you have like m- miles and miles, of wild
Mm-hmm.
wilderness, right? Like here,
Right.
we did a good job conserving things,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
it's also pretty densely populated. Like, um, and so it's, yeah, land is hard to come by, and hard,
Mhm.
and I mean there are
Right.
multiple
So
aspects.
basically,
Sorry.
the current reality is you don't have your own land to do the thing that you want to do. Right. It's adequate in terms of like where you live and you got all your needs met. Right. In terms of food and shelter and stuff. You're working part time. You're you have a certain number of days with the family,
Mm-hmm.
and you also kind of and then your wife works too, like she works full time, right?
She
So like
works. She works just a day more than me, um,
yeah.
which means so Thursday is kind of my dad day, and then like
Right.
Friday to Sunday it's all of us together. That's our
Right.
arrangement for now.
Right. Totally. And so right. And then you have these basically you have um these 2 hours to yourself, right?
Yeah.
Like essentially you have if you get up in time to do them, basically you have like 10 hours. What is that? Like well, I guess that would be 14 hours a week,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Interesting. So essentially you have like quarter of a, you know, in terms of a job, if this
Hmm.
were a job, you have like not quite half-time work that you could just really put in this direction towards what you're talking about.
Yeah. Um,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I have a few pieces hanging around.
Yeah.
There's one thing I want to say about the land part, which is
Mm-hmm.
even if we found a way to, buy land and do all of that, which is unlikely given the fact that we are working part-time, and not earning as much money as we could.
Right.
I don't know if that would be the solution, because it would be a solution for us. It would not create this landslide movement that I'm talking about, right? So
Right.
there's a bit of a question there. What direction to go? Should we like look for a solution for us, or should we kind of like, I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
network and try to make it a reality for, like, a
Yeah.
model that works
Totally.
for a number of people.
Totally.
So that's there something.
Mm-hmm.
And relatively to the mornings, maybe that's something that came up last time as well. Is um, there is a bit of a tension between time spent really for myself, in the sense of like, meditation, journaling, the kind of stuff that is not public, that
Mm-hmm.
kind of nurtures anyway. It nurtures everything, right? Because it
Mm-hmm.
would improve my effectiveness and all of that
Right.
still. But and then the things that I would actually do in public for the public.
Mm-hmm.
um and so, yeah, there is this space, um and there are many things that could occupy that space, and that are kind of competing a bit also for that
Yeah.
space.
Right.
um
Right. Right.
and in a
Right.
sense, the more I think about what I could do, the more I sense the limitation of like, I need more
Mhm.
space, more time.
Yeah. Right. Right. Any other things dangling?
Yeah, I mean, like, to it sometimes, when I think about, John Vervaeke's his meditation series,
Mm-hmm.
which, like, each episode lasts, I think, 40 minutes or so.
Right.
I think maybe I should just, like, um, spend my time doing that, and, um, focus more on,
Mm-hmm.
personal growth.
Yeah.
But I would feel like that's
Mm-hmm.
only part of it, like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want, yeah, it's what I told, what came out last time, right? I want this this team, this
Mm-hmm.
this yeah, this public thing that is growing. I think this growth part is again like coming, shining through this.
Yeah.
I want to build.
Right. Right. You. I want to make sure I'm clear about when you say this public thing.
Mm.
Is the public thing the whole thing with the land of, about what you wanted? Is that what that refers to? What's the public thing?
Yeah, what's the public thing?
Mm-hmm.
um I mean, what we are doing right now is part of the public thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, let me double check
Yeah.
if nobody commented, so I guess
Mhm.
I hope it works.
Right.
We got the
Right.
like. Um, so
Mhm.
what is the public thing?
Mhm. Right.
I think it has to do with, I'm coming at it again like from an imaginal kind of thing and trying to make
Yeah.
it
Right.
concrete, but I think it
Right.
has to do with collaboration, with communication, with relevance realization, collective intelligence.
Hmm.
I think it has to do with that.
Yeah.
um I have this feeling that, here we are, human beings, and we have all this capacity. We like there. I feel like there is so much potential at the level of the collaboration that could happen,
Hmm.
and kind of like the inefficiency of not doing that.
Hmm.
Um, and how, in a sense, we are really not. Um, there's a lot of dysfunctionality, let's call it, uh, in terms of, yeah, I'm imagining, like an ant hive. Do ants have a hive? Is that correct? Or ant hill or something. Anyway,
Yeah.
like,
Until.
and
Yeah.
ants like behaving each like kind of individually, this in a discoordinated
Right.
fashion, and then nothing comes out of
Right.
it. And on the
Right.
on the other hand, if we were able to coordinate,
Hmm.
then these marvelous things could come out. Um,
Yeah.
and to a degree, they are already happening.
Hmm.
Maybe it's a matter of humility and just like positioning myself inside of what's already happening. I don't know, maybe that's.
Hmm. Right. Actually, how is it already happening? Let's just say it is already happening. What tells you it's already happening on some level?
So the aspect where to me it's most obvious is
Hmm.
open source software,
Hmm.
because that's kind of like, you know
Hmm.
to a degree it informs a lot of my thinking, right? Like,
Yeah.
I was inspired to study computer science by Wikipedia, right?
Hmm.
But and Wikipedia, more than the collaboration that happens on the platform, like,
Hmm.
I was inspired by the fact that you can develop a software, a tool, a platform that
Hmm.
enables that collaboration.
Hmm.
And then, like, an unprecedented level of collaboration just happens. And
Hmm.
the this the open source concept, right? The fact that you can really solve a problem once and for all, and if you solve it well, everyone else can benefit from it, right? Like, I have again like this image of like each little innovation, if it's open source, kind of rippling through the world is instantaneously, right? And upgrading everyone's in a marginal way, but still,
Yeah.
uh, everyone else's capacity to be productive and help as well, and kind of this happening all the time and compounding
Yeah.
again, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm now running all of this on open source software, right?
Hmm.
It's
Right.
or
Right.
either that or free.
Right.
So I
Right.
guess that also counts as kind of the innovation that makes things very,
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
cheap. Um,
Yeah.
and here, I think the core intuition is Jordan Hall's distinction between rivalrous and anti-rivalrous, right? Um, so there are things that if we share them, both of us benefit, and other things that if we share them, it's actually both of us have less of it,
Hmm.
right? And
Right. Right.
if my the way I understand it is like, so these the rivalrous things are things that are non-renewable, like like matter, energy,
Hmm.
time, those things. And the anti-rivalrous is more like the patterns, the arrangements of the things, so that you have the substrate, which is
Right.
limited, but then the
Hmm.
patterns, you can, this idea that waves can overlap, right? Like there is no one
Mhm.
wave is not taking space for the other wave,
Right.
right? Like they can, you
Right.
can create patterns as deeply as you want. And
Yeah. I've been meditating every morning at my on the dock, so I've had so many thoughts about that. So go ahead.
mm.
You're right. Waves, no matter how many there are.
ah,
I'm like, this would do us some good if we were more like that. Yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's interesting. This idea that meaning can layer, right? And that,
Yeah.
y- yeah, this is gives, in a sense, it's like hopeful, right? Because if you can layer meaning so much, then it
Mhm.
means that you can accomplish
Right.
more and more, like in just in one tai chi move that is like perfectly, like
Yeah.
with infinite
Yeah.
information, like tuned to the
Yeah.
moment, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
um but yeah.
Hmm.
uh, um so open source software for me is like, yeah, um
Hmm.
there it's obvious, like
Right. Right.
half of the world's
So
phones
there,
running on
so
an
there it's
Android, which is
obvious,
Linux. And sorry.
right? Totally. And like in your relationships and like the people that you met in like the game B world, right? Online, the conversations that you've had, like, because I'm imagining, I mean, everything that I'm hearing you say is in terms of, you know, it seems like it, there's a conversation that you probably need to be dwelling in, right? It's this conversation that we're talking about, right? And so, like for example, if you go out and just you just start looking for land, right, for you, right, in your family, like it's not necessarily like the paradigm that you want, right? The paradigm that you want is actually from and in and through collaboration with other people, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So it sounds like one of the first things that we need to do is find out who else out there wants to do this. Or is it? What do you think?
Yeah. I think it is. I think there is a part of me that is afraid of losing control. Or that kind of, if you go the traditional route of looking for land, buying land, etc.
Yeah.
um, then you have control over it. You decide what to do, right? And I mean, it's this individualistic approach.
Right, totally. Yeah. So
Um,
actually, just check it out. Let's just check it out really quick. So I think that one of the things I want to do is make sure we listen to your whenever there's a concern, right? Like we don't want to run over it, even if it's one that's annoying to you,
mm,
right? Like like I that I always tell we want to listen to your being here.
mm,
So there's a concern that comes up when I just kind of say, what about it sounds like we need to get into a conversation with where the people is. And you're like, and then there's something goes, what, wait a minute. Mm-hmm.
I mean, all of this is related to the big question of, you know, um, how unstable is this whole thing? What can we rely on? What can we not rely on, right? Um, if I could trust kind of society to live on, civilization to continue being the way it is, right? Then I could just stay here, like then it's already, I already have it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I have my place, um,
Yeah.
my little
Yeah.
community around me, and I could just get more involved right here.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. So that's an option, right? However, what's the big question? So the big question is
the big question is, what if it all collapses? So
which all?
what if the the current structure system that that enables all of this,
Right.
um,
Right. So
the
the
political.
West basically.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
So basically the West is what you're talking about.
Hmm. I
Like the
guess,
thing
yeah.
that yeah, so where you're currently living and all the infrastructure and all the intelligibility and from which the infrastructure dwells on and the historical settings and all of that that kind of give rise to you having your place
Yeah,
outside of
and
Zurich. Uh-huh.
exactly. And even like asking the question, I realized that um, depending on how deeply it goes, even ownership doesn't mean anything anymore, right? Like, even to
Mhm.
say, okay, I own this piece of land, well, that's granted me by the system, right? Which, if it
Yeah,
collapses,
right.
I guess, um, I guess there is a bit of a prepper impulse here to say, well, okay, if I have my land, I can hunker in the bunker, I can. I can
Right,
create big fences around it,
right,
and buy the
right,
guns, and
right,
um,
right.
which again, like as you say, right? I don't like that impulse,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a general feeling of, yeah. I mean, assuming that these people are right? This Jordan Hall and the others, um, that this thing is going to collapse, then what
Mm-hmm.
is the right thing to do, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
and the first impulse is to say, wait, okay, I'm going to look for myself first, right?
Yeah. Actually, pause one second. I just want to check something out.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say, actually, let's really look at like, let's just say it you just found out, I just got a message from God, right? And it sent me the envelope and I opened it up and it says it's not going to collapse, right? It's just going to stay where it is, right? It's not going to collapse. Or are you like, oh, okay, I'll just stay here and and just dig deeper in my garden and get more involved with the community? Like, is this predicated on the sense of that what you have now is in danger? Is it a response to that, or is it or is it?
I think so. I think there is a degree of that, like, of. Hmm.
Mhm.
So there is an aesthetic aspect as well. So hmm,
Mm. Mhm.
let me think.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on right now, and I'm. Hmm,
Yeah,
just
yeah. Take a second. Just tell me what's going on right now. The happening's happening.
yeah. So there is a bit of a fear again of, like, discovering motivations that are not, that are selfish,
Mhm.
and then kind of having to make a choice maybe between the selfish thing and the altruistic thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a fear. uh,
Yeah.
there is a fear of, well, like maybe, yeah, there is money again coming into question, like maybe the right thing would have been all along to just be completely career oriented and look to earn as much money as possible, and then I would have the freedom to do more things, right? And instead
Right.
of looking
Right.
for this
Yeah.
esoteric collaboration kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
uh, there is there is a yearning for, I think, yeah, this compounding collaboration. There is a bit of a fear that that might not be possible within kind of my generation or something, that all I can do is more like the slow process of make building the affordances that,
Mm-hmm.
so that I won't see, that I will only see the slow part of the exponential curve. I don't
Right.
know.
Right.
um,
Right. Right.
um, I don't know, many questions, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of,
Right. Mm-hmm.
and also there is a bit of a fear that I have a lot of thoughts in my mind that I downloaded from people that I listened to, and
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah.
I'm not fully sure that they're correct. I'm just like
Yeah.
going on that assumption in a way.
Totally. Well, I think it's like one of the things that I think what your body and the happening that you're talking about right now sounds like it's what we're finding out is that the why you're doing it matters, right? Like if there's an intention that you don't know about, a selfish intention that matters somehow. If there's like um, if you've bought some thoughts that you actually, if you look at them, you maybe do or don't agree with them, that matters. Like whether or not it looks possible in your lifetime, right? Like there's a those all seem like why questions or what would have you do all of this. And
Mm,
so it sounds like there's some concerns around it.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. So just seeing that, let's just take a second to see that, and just see if the happenings happens,
Mhm.
the unfolding jiggles, or what happened with it.
There is a, I'm kind of afraid that this is like a never ending thing to examine once.
Right. Well, I just want to I want to put a frame around this, just to help ground possibly your mind, right? So remember what I was talking about last time. It's like the moment we start to look and we we start to say I want something that's not totally here,
Mm-hmm.
is the moment everything that's in the way between me and it shows up, right? If
Mm-hmm.
I don't say that, oh, I want to go there, then the door's not in the way, the carpeting is not in the way, the right.
Mm-hmm.
So this is all the things that are coming up are in the context, right, of use of you getting present to in some level all the things that you said that you wanted, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. This kind of deeper conversation with a bunch of people, right, that are in that deeper conversation, right? You basically holistically making your living basically being paid and making your living for your creativity, right? As a developer in all these different ways, right? And all of it around these really cool, like qualitative feedback loops, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's that, there's like, because what I'm hearing in that, on one level, I'm hearing actual stuff that you're moving towards. But really, like I think what I'm hearing is there's a possibility that's been speaking to you via all kinds of situations, right?
Mm-hmm.
In which it's, on some level, these possibilities have addressed you and they're speaking to you. And so even just this coaching on some level is about, right, letting those possibilities address you. And so all the things that come up by virtue of all that being possible on some level.
Mm.
Here's another breath.
uh,
I've
so
been noticing you keep breathing through the whole session.
yeah, that's true. That's I think once that creeped out my therapist, he was like wondering what's going on. I think the deep breaths for um,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
for me it's a release of tension. Actually, that's what happens. Deep breath
Mm-hmm.
happens when something within me gets like a bit unlocked, or like the tension that breaks, and then
Yep.
that's how it feels.
Totally. Yep.
And so yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's a good thing. It's a good sign.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
um but I think I want to zero in on the feedback loop thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's part of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
To be in a flow.
Mm-hmm.
Flow requires a tight feedback loop.
Mm-hmm.
um and it to be oriented towards like an omni good for everyone, something like that,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
because you can get into flow and climb the wrong hill, that kind of thing, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I think yeah, I want to keep that orientation towards the thing that can
Mm-hmm. Right.
make everyone better at doing the thing that
Yep.
helps everyone else get better at doing the thing.
Right. Totally. Yeah.
And again, like there's just this frustration of um why can't I do it already, like why I feel like I'm I I don't like politics, but let's as a political thought experiment, right? If the state had already assigned me a piece of land, a small one, one that's just, I mean, small, just enough to produce food for myself, etc.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many things that are counterproductive that I wouldn't do in my life. I would already be building the thing. I would already be collaborating with everyone, like, because I would be
Yeah.
starting from a place of sovereignty kind of thing.
Right.
And instead I'm doing the thing that feels more over time, more like the rat race, the thing that doesn't feel like fully meaningful, to
Yeah.
unlock the time where I can do the thing that feels meaningful, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think, yeah, there is a bit of frustration there.
Yeah. Totally. Totally. So there's a buildup of, you're noticing as we're talking about it, like your desire for the meaningfulness for that which we're talking about moving towards. In fact, you actually already are moving towards and have moved towards, right? But the one you want your whole life to be in that particular toward. Um, there's a drift that you've noticed, right, at the same time, which is, life's kind of feeling more like that the rat race. So as you talk about it, you notice that frustration. And one of the things I see, right? So I'm just keeping an eye on time. We don't have that
Mm-hmm.
much time left. I think one of the things I'm the one of the thing I'm seeing is that, I think you can only move towards it when it is distinct, right? And I think there's levels of distinction that haven't been articulated yet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what's happening for you though now? What are the concerns happening? What are the sensations? What are the breaths, feelings?
I think what I'm sensing, I'm feeling the fragmentation, in the sense of like many different aspects of me that want something that is kind of, it's not fully aligned, like a bit
Mm-hmm.
conflicting, Um, and I'm also sensing maybe a lack of kind of like society is not, yeah, I mean, society, yeah, to state it stupidly, a lack of help from society to kind of, it's like going against the current somehow. That's how
Yeah,
it feels. Um,
yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
and kind of like I feel like I need kind of like to reach escape velocity in a sense, right? There is a
Mm-hmm.
momentum that needs to build,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah,
so to get off a certain track and into a different track.
yeah. And an escape velocity to where? So as to go where? To get on the off one track and on the other track to where?
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. That was like a half exhale with like a smile chaser at the end.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting. The thing that I want to say right
Mm-hmm.
now feel more heady, like more like there are things that I learned,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, and that
Okay.
I kind of have questions about them actually, kind of like.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the things that come to mind are, like, say if
Yeah.
you living in a tribe by original regeneration,
Mm-hmm.
um, and kind of coupled with this global innovation kind of thing.
Mm.
Um,
Yep.
and the unquestioned things that are coming up behind it is, is it needed? Is it good? Um, is is what currently is happening, like the current model really bringing us to collapse, kind of like, At a
Right.
certain level, I know I know it and I believe it, and maybe there is a part of me that doesn't believe it. There is a bit of
Mm-hmm.
cognitive dissonance there.
Right. Right. Right.
And then maybe, yeah, I think I'm leaving more confused than I was at the beginning.
Mhm. Right. Right. So it's kind of like, is it fair to say I'm leaving, realize how confused I am?
Yeah, I guess.
Right. This is it. Yeah, totally. Well, I think one of the things, right? So for example, let's just say what was coming tomorrow is like you have five people you've been talking to. You're all looking at land you want to buy, and it's within, right? It's like, and you're the guy that's setting up the platform to do this thing, right? And there's a whole system around it, and like gathered all the people, and you're all contributing money to it on some level. And let's just say that's happening tomorrow. How would you feel about that? And let's just say it was good, right? It was like it was good land, and it your wife liked it, and
Yeah, that would be cool.
yeah. See, that's the thing I'm getting. I actually was assuming, and it's kind of interesting that it's come up. I'm glad that it has. So I'm assuming like really the reason that you want to do all this stuff, right, is because it's just cool. Like,
It,
right? Like it's like it's fucking cool. Like all these distinctions and this idea of, kind of putting your creativity and, you know, creating something, a completely new paradigm from which to be together, right?
oh my God. What's funny? When I sent you that SMS asking you to do the coaching live, right? You said something that would be so much fun, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I was not very convinced about the idea. I was thinking, is it legitimate? Is it asking for, people's attention? Is it narcissistic? All of that. And then you just said
Mm-hmm.
it would be fun, right? And I thought, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Right. Right.
oh my God, yeah, I don't know why I don't take that as a
Yeah.
legitimate reason,
Right. 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 Well, but here's the thing: is maybe it is. That's what we're listening to, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're right. We're finding out about you. You're finding out about you too. You're somebody you got to contend with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yes, yes, yes.
Uh-huh.
It's interesting. Yeah.
But I think one of the things that we need to do is because because probably because of your temperament and other things, right? Your tendency is gonna be um is gonna if you're not careful, your tendency will be to like not get concrete about things, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Like so there's one of the things I think we want to do is really start to get something um like something kind of concrete verbalized, right? Such that it's not just the paradigm, but there's some content there.
Mm.
There's like a thing you're doing. There's like, so then you could have all the other shit come up, right? About, you know, all the stuff that gets in the way, all the internal blocks to, to, where you don't want to make
Yeah.
phone calls and like, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where the concrete stuff comes in. But I think we want to start to get this into something that you're your nervous system can think about and recognize as something that you can actually take actions toward.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because right now it's in the world. It's really is in the world of a vision. So that's one of the things I'm thinking about is like, really kind of starting to map out, right, what this looks like for you and the intermediary steps for it. And it seems like that's going to happen amongst the people that are already thinking about this stuff like you are, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I think it seems to me a lot of that's going to come about via conversation with the other people, right?
Yeah. How much time do you have? Or like, is it, do you have 4
Yeah,
minutes?
just about tell you, I have to go at 9:30.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. You know that when it comes to coming concrete, there are a number of ways I can see that. And one in particular is really difficult for me. So um, to get concrete, for me, it's easier to say, okay, what's the next thing that needs to be done? And then get that done, in a couple of weeks, and then see, like kind of keep the openness after that, like to
Right.
say, okay, this is the next thing. It's going to be useful. It's going to be good. Um, and I've been able to do that,
Right.
both, as a hobby
Mm-hmm.
and also something else, like to be concrete about how to participate, the way, and the process, and
Yeah.
not the product.
Yeah.
But then to actually saying, okay, like long term, this is the goal and this is the path, and strategize, and I'm going to focus on this. That's the hard part for me.
Yeah. Totally. Totally. Yeah. Totally. All right, my friend. I will see you.
Yeah.
I will see you this time next week.
Yes. I hope tomorrow I have to pull my wisdom teeth, but I will write you.
Okay, cool. All right.
Okay.
Have a good
Bye. Have
wisdom
a good
teeth.
evening.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye. Oh, I see there have been a lot of comments. That's nice. I'm gonna check them out. Thank you everyone for watching. Bye bye.